So should you be doing cheat meals as a part of your strategy to lose body fat? Are cheat meals good for you? It's a very good question. I actually just got that question on Instagram and I get it quite a bit. So I decided to make this video to address this issue and actually share with you my strategy that I use personally and also with my clients that will help you understand this whole idea about cheat meals and what to really focus on so you can avoid some of the most common mistakes that I see with cheat meals that prevent you from getting lean and that prevent you from ever reaching that goal. And speaking of those mistakes, one of the most common ones that I see plaguing so many people out there and that you should definitely avoid is having that cheat meal turn into a cheat day, that cheat day turning into a cheat weekend, and then that cheat weekend turning into a week, and the week turning into a month, and then before you know it, you've been 3 months off the plan, you haven't made any progress, and you've actually gained weight. This is very, very common, and this is one of the reasons why the cheat meal strategy is very risky, and oftentimes it doesn't really yield much benefit. And really the only benefit that you can get from it would be psychological, because when you look at the data, when you look at scientific research, we know that one meal with extra calories or one meal where you can just eat whatever you want as much as you want doesn't really do much to recover you from diet fatigue. And diet fatigue is that state when you've been dieting for a while now, you lost a bunch of weight, you reached a new weight, and your body's metabolism has slowed down a little bit. Now, a lot of gurus out there, mainstream fitness, will say that these cheat meals once a week or twice a week would actually help you boost that metabolism and recover that metabolism so you can continue losing body fat. And that's actually not true. And this is one of the common myths and the ways people justify using cheat meals. So we know that's not true looking at the data. We need actually about a week to notice some real effects. So instead of doing a cheat meal, what you want to think about is, can I do a maintenance phase for a week or even 2 weeks, which requires a bit more patience, but actually does help you reduce that diet fatigue. This is a very important thing. And then the second question I would ask people when someone asks me about cheat meals is, well, if your diet is so good, why do you need to cheat on it? Why do you need to think about cheat meals? Why do you really crave to eat whatever you want? Can't you just make it a setup where you can actually include some of those foods that you want to eat on a more flexible basis so you can have a little bit of that and a little bit of here or there, maybe a couple of days a week, but without sacrificing your big goals? Because again, that cheat meal can turn into a cheat weekend, and before you know it, you're done. And this is actually a strategy that I use for myself. I'm very flexible with my diet approach. I have my regular structure, which I adhere to, which is my favorite way to eat, my meal plan, my favorite foods that I follow that I could eat pretty much for the rest of my life. And then I have certain things that I eat when I go out. Maybe I pick up a dessert, I go out, have dinner with friends, with people like they're surrounding me and I just want to have some fun with them. I may have some food that is a bit off of my plan, but I can still incorporate that into my overall big picture, and I'm not going to lose any progress over that. And that's really how you want to look at it. You don't want to be this black and white type of mentality where you're strictly being super clean, quote unquote, on your diet, and you never eat anything that is considered tasty. And then all of a sudden, because once you had that meal, the floodgates open and you just go overboard and you can't stop yourself. So to avoid this black and white setup, what I recommend more is a more of like a 90-10 approach or an 80-20 approach where 10% of the time you actually, or 10-20% of the time, you get to eat what you want. You can incorporate it within your current setup of calories, however many you have, and you can make that work instead of relying on cheat meals or cheat days, which actually a big other downside is that you will feel really bad after you eat a whole bunch of that food, and then the next day you might be bloated. It can throw off your progress measurements on the scale. It can really impact you. So I don't personally recommend having these huge cheat days or cheat meals because it doesn't really serve you, and also will shut down your brain. You probably won't be able to think right. That's also one of the other reasons why I don't recommend doing it. And for me personally, when I look at the whole cheat meal situation, I don't even endorse the word cheat. I don't like the word cheat. It kind of brings this negative connotation to the whole thing. And just the fact that you're calling it like that and the whole approach that people take around cheat meals is that it's something forbidden, or that there's a lot of scarcity on that food. And just by the nature that it has some scarcity on it, all of a sudden that makes it more appealing for some people. So I wouldn't really even use the word cheat meal. I would just use this as more of like a flexible meal or however other term you want to use, because the word cheat itself just assumes that you want to eat as much junk food as possible in that meal. and that's not a very healthy approach to look at food in general. So you want to look at food more of like as like fuel, and then some of it being entertainment. So let's say you have those entertaining hyper palatable foods a couple of times a week, but then most of your food is really fuel that works best for your body, that fuels your first your fat loss, then your muscle gaining goals, and really makes you look great, makes you feel great, and gets you operating at 100%. And that's the most important thing. Are you operating at 100% in your life as a high performer who wants to bring value to the world, who wants to advance and progress in your life? You can't really afford to have a bunch of these cheat meals or a bunch of junk food all the time, because that's going to really impact your performance. But you can afford to have that flexibility on the weekends. Let's say you have dinners with clients. Let's say you go out with your loved ones, your girlfriend, boyfriend. You want to hang out with your family, and you want to have some food that is a dessert or something a bit more processed. You can include in that 10% of calories, which is a decent amount that you can do without ever sacrificing results and feeling that you're depriving yourself. So that would be my recommendation related to cheat meals and how to approach cheat meals. Actually, very curious. In your journey, are you doing cheat meals? Do you do that classic cheat meal approach where you just pick one, whatever day of the week, and then choose 1 or 2 meals, and you just eat whatever you want, however much you want? Do you do that? Let me know in the comments. Other than that, I will see you in the next video.